welcome to Happy Horror Time. My name's Tim Murdoch.
And my name is Matt Emmert, and that was some extra special energy, Tim.
Well, I wanted to give you a little boost. You were kind of sleeping over there.
How dare you? Actually, sometimes...
You're never tired.
I'm never tired. You know why? Because I drink Celsius energy drinks.
Did you drink a Celsius
Not
drink?
not like before the evening, but in the morning I usually do. And by the way,
every single morning.
Almost every single
and
morning.
Coffee?
No, I don't have coffee. See, that's my coffee. That's the thing. I don't like coffee, but these Celsius energy drinks, it's clean energy. Yeah, right. But
we're not getting
anyway,
paid for this.
Sometimes I ask Tim, like, if he's like not having a lot of energy, I give him a few sips of it, and then he's like off the walls.
I know. We've discussed this many times.
I know, but Tim, you have natural energy. You don't need to.
Well, that's not true. Like, it's come to the point where I need a nap every single day. Just 15 minutes.
Tell me you're a grandpa without telling me you're a grandpa.
What is that? Oh my gosh. I just figured out what, like, when people on their Insta stories said, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
I
was
like,
out.
what is the
Hashtag IYKYK.
I was like, what is this garbage?
I have to like be up on that TikTok slang because I write ads for TikTok for my job. So like, trust me, I'm not like wanting to be up on it, but like I have to know that
Hey,
shit.
you know what, Matt? If you know, you know.
Tim, if you know, you know. So, okay, so Insidious the Red Door, it is the 5th movie in the Insidious series. And Tim, did we see the original back in 2010 together?
I feel like I can't rule it out.
That's like saying I can neither confirm nor deny. That is a non-answer. I don't remember. I
really don't.
So,
and I usually remember all that stuff.
The original Insidious, when it came out, it was pretty groundbreaking. Like, written by Lee Whannell, who did like Saw, and is also an actor. Directed by James Wan, and
Star of Beaches, Barbara Hershey.
In the first Insidious?
Wasn't she in the first one?
She was in the first one. And you know, it involves like this family with Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne are the parents, and they have kids, and one of the kids gets like it introduced this whole new world called the Further.
A whole new world.
Not like that, but it like where the little kid was in a coma, but really he was stuck in another dimension with like dead, tortured souls called the Further.
Tortured.
It's true. And then
no,
Lynn Shay played this like medium, and it was just a great movie. It was pretty groundbreaking at the time because there had been obviously like, you know, like supernatural horror movies.
It was a straightforward horror film.
And it was good. It built the tension, the demon in it. Do you know, by the way, what they call that demon with the red face? I looked it up on IMDb.
Gorgeous?
No, the lipstick demon. What the hell does that mean?
It sounds filthy.
Does it look like that demon's wearing lipstick?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, let's call him the red face demon because he has a red face, and that makes sense.
Well, I thought his face was black. Like, it looks burnt.
He's fully black with a red face.
Did you ever see? Of course,
he looks like Darth Maul.
Did you ever see Mulholland Drive?
Yes, but a long time ago. So don't ask me anything about it.
There's just a quick scene in Mulholland Drive when the detective goes behind like the Denny's and like it's like and behind like the dumpster, and this man comes out and goes like burn. It's like a jump scare.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It looks like the Lipstick Jungle.
That is such an obscure reference, but I do know what you're talking about.
I just said Lipstick Jungle starring Brooke Shields.
So the first Insidious was successful, and it launched a sequel, which literally like took place right after the first one. And the big thing with Insidious Part 2 is that Patrick Wilson was possessed during most of it by this, like, remember that scary, the Bride in Black, they called her?
Yeah.
It was a terrifying ghost.
They had like pictures of him at the park and stuff.
And where you see her behind him. But in Insidious 2, most of the movie is him possessed. And at the end, he like, as the possessed demon is trying to kill his family, and finally, like, you know, he gets back in his body and all is okay. But here's the thing.
Well, first up, we need to discuss how cute is Patrick Wilson.
He's always been cute. He's been cute for like ever. He's been around for so long, and he's always cute, still cute.
We have to mention he directed it.
Oh, this movie.
Yes.
This one. Yes. Insidious the 5th one he directed, and it's his directorial debut. Well,
is that true?
Yeah, first movie. So here's the thing about Insidious 3 and 4. They had nothing to do with this family.
It was very Lynn Shay focused.
It was very Lynn Shay focused. They were both prequels. They did not revolve around the family. They're the Lambert family. So this new movie...
no relation to...
Adam Lambert.
Right. Lambert.
Can you imagine?
Wait, can I tell a quick story?
Just kidding. No, yes, please.
So there was a time when I was on the apps I'm not currently not on anything.
Which apps? Tinder, Bumble?
Yeah, one of them. I can't even Hinge, Unhinged.
Hinge, Unhinged.
So
Wait,
I
are you
thought
about to tell me that you matched with Adam Lambert? Because I'm
Yes.
gonna fucking die. Are
I
you
don't even know
serious?
if I've never told this story until right now.
Wait, you guys both.
We both matched. And he said, meet me at the Starbucks at the Grove at like such and such on Sunday. And I did. I went there. And then when I checked the app, it was gone.
Wait, what was gone? The message?
Yes, everything. Like he disappeared. So I was like, oh my God, I'm such a dum-dum. I actually went to the Starbucks Grove to meet Adam Lambert.
Lambert, sorry. I said Amber.
And then so Adam, if you're listening to our little podcast.
Wait, what year was this? How did you never tell me this?
Because I felt like such a dum-dum.
But it's not your fault. He just probably, I don't know, maybe he's sort of a celebrity, so he probably was just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. Who knows? But what year was that? Was this like
I wish I could tell you the year.
within the last 5 years?
Obviously, because I wasn't with I was
Okay,
single.
so
Yeah.
let's say 2018.
Sure, let's say it.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah, I went to the Grove Starbucks.
Here's the thing, Adam Lambert, not quite like my type that I think I'd want to date, but he's just so talented.
No,
and
I
that
was
enough
intrigued.
is sexy.
Like we had a good conversation, but you know what? I don't know if he had like I wish I could remember if he had the little blue check mark. You know, like.
Oh, you mean
'Cause
like
they
he's
do
an
that.
official celebrity? Yeah.
Well, no, I mean not from Twitter or anything like that. It's like on the dating apps. Sometimes they have like to make sure you are a legit person.
Oh, and did you not have that?
I did, but I can't remember. I don't know. I wish I could tell you which app.
Well,
I wish I could
can't.
tell
But
you.
wow.
Anyway,
you
long story
almost met
short,
up with Adam Lambert.
Yeah, so when I got to the Grove, I checked my messages and be like, "Hey, I'm here," and then like his profile, everything gone.
Wow.
It was
I mean,
very
here's the thing.
insidious.
He could first off. It's such a subplot.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, such a tangent, but a good one though, because here's the thing: he probably maybe decided, I don't want to do the apps anymore. Not cool that he said meet me
Wait,
somewhere.
I
and
don't even
didn't.
think it was him. It could not have
Oh,
been
you
him.
think it was a?
I think it was a.
Okay.
What's
well,
that
then
called?
forget it. I'm not
was,
impressed.
I was catfished.
I'm
anyway.
not impressed. You were catfished by Adam Lambert. Nothing to do with Insidious. But back to Insidious. Okay, so we get to Insidious the Red Door, and so what they decided with this one is that they were going to make a direct sequel to Insidious 1 and 2 and follow the Lambert family like 9 years later or something. So when we saw the trailer for this, I was really intrigued by this because the first two Insidiouses were my favorite.
Yeah, I've enjoyed every single Insidious.
I just really remembered this family, and in what this movie revolves around is the little kid who was in the first one in a coma is now grown up going to college, and it's about him and the family also. And I was like, oh my God, I'm such a sucker for sequels that like really follow characters and later in life. They keep the same actors. I
Yes.
hate when people recast. And this is the same. So the kid who's now grown up, his name is Ty Simpkins, and he's actually been in a lot. I mean, he was in Insidious 1 and 2. He was in Jurassic World. He was in The Whale.
Yeah, so if you're in films like The Whale, especially Jurassic World,
Jurassic World was huge.
I mean, that kid's got to be, he's set for life. He doesn't have to work ever again.
But what I love is that he came back to this. He's grown up. He's cute now, and I can say that. He's
You can't
you didn't
say
think
that. I just don't like long hair.
Yeah, the
I
hair
know, that's
wasn't my
very
favorite,
shallow of
but
me.
he was. I looked him up, so I didn't feel like a creeper. He is 22, so I'm not
Okay,
like
so you
doing
can
anything.
take him to a bar.
So I don't feel too creepy. If he was under 21, I'd feel creepy. But he's playing a college student. But anyway, so that's the setup that it's following this family. So the movie starts. What I love about what this movie does is it shows a lot of clips from the first two movies. So if you haven't seen them in a while, you'll remember these parts. I will tell you, like a nerd, I watched both Insidious 1 and 2 before Tim and I went to see it. I just wanted to catch up, and Tim made fun of me.
I'm kind of jealous that you did because it's fresh in your mind. Because when they did, spoiler alert, they do show clips from part 2 when the two boys are super young.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, I kind of wish I would have seen it.
So here's the thing. I will say that first off, I hadn't seen Insidious 1 and 2 since I saw them in the movie theater, so it had been a while, and they're worth another watch because they're great movies. And I kind of enjoyed that being fresh in my mind because then I felt like I was literally watching the sequel like right away after that. So, but I don't want to tell you have to watch 1 and 2 for this one to make sense. If anything, they have so many clips from the old movies that it's like it almost becomes like a highlight reel,
Right.
you know?
I mean, well, it starts off with Beaches Barbara Hershey
Well, oh yeah. Well, the very first scene is a flashback of how Insidious 2 ended, which was one of Lin Shaye's people, his name is Carl, was going to hypnotize Patrick Wilson and his son. So it's Josh and Dalton. So they would never remember the further or any of the times they were possessed or anything.
Was that in parts 1 or 2?
Yes, that was the end of part 2. So the very beginning of this movie, it shows that scene. So just so you know, they've been hypnotized, so they don't remember anything that happened.
It's kind of like in Men in Black when they yeah.
Exactly, just not as cheesy.
Right.
But then it says 9 years later, and we get pushed to a funeral scene. And now, Tim,
So then there's a huge, beautiful picture of Beach's Barbara Hershey.
Now, Barbara Hershey played Patrick Wilson's mom in Insidious 1 and 2. She was a very important part of it, but apparently it's been 9 years, and now she's dead.
Right. And, she is horror royalty. She also did The Entity.
Yes, I know. Well, and she's just acting royalty.
No,
I feel like she's been in so much.
I was kind of bummed she wasn't.
I was wondering. I think they needed, maybe they just, to progress it, maybe they just didn't have a part for her, so they're like, let's kill her. But anyway, you see the family, and Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne still looks great. Their kids, what I love about this is not only did they, Ty Simpkins playing Dalton, it's the same actor. His brother, I looked up, is the same actor who played the little kid, his brother in the first 2 movies.
And I'm going to, should I say this?
Say it.
All right. He might need one more acting class. I trust me, and I can say that because I'm not a great actor.
I have a feeling he has not had Ty Simpkins' career, so
that's
he's
what I'm
definitely
saying. I feel like a bitch.
No, it's okay. I noticed that, and then they have a little sister who was a baby in the first 2, so that's not the same actors because of course they're not going to use a baby.
I don't even remember her. I just saw Insidious: The Red Door. I don't even remember the sister.
She was in one scene at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're at this funeral, and here the one thing that I thought was weird. So and they're going home. So Dalton, he's kind of like this angsty teen. He looks like he's just not happy with his parents. And then you realize that Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne are split up. They've divorced. And you're like, oh shit, because I liked them as a couple in Insidious 1 and 2.
They had chemistry.
And she starts telling Josh, Patrick Wilson, that, you know what, Dalton's going to college soon. Why don't you drive him to college so you guys can bond again? Because they don't have much of a relationship.
And you know what? That is very relatable.
Well, but it's just so you have to assume these 9 years, the family dynamic has not been good. The parents separated. The kids, I think, are living mostly with the mom. You can tell Patrick Wilson isn't as big a part of their life. But then it switches to Patrick Wilson.
Wish the family would remember he was possessed.
Well, it's like they can't tell him because they don't want to open those doors. Right. No pun intended.
The red
one
door?
really cool scene, the red door. Patrick Wilson goes back to his car and he starts texting Dalton, his son, hey, what if I drove you to college? And he says, yeah. But during this scene, I thought this was really creepy and good. You see, but the camera is just showing him through the windshield, and you see in the window in the back, you see someone slowly approaching, and it gets right to the back of the car, and then the title Insidious, the red door comes on.
I love the way they put the Insidious, but I wasn't scared, and I thought there'd be a jump scare.
That's the thing. What I will say about that scene is that it was building to nothing.
It literally built to nothing.
Here's the thing. I don't know if I needed a jump scare per se, because I feel like jump scares can be so cheap.
You know what I wanted? I wanted the lipstick guy to
pop up next to Patrick Wilson. I mean, I don't think that'd be a little early. I
need it.
Tim was like, I need to get right in here.
Get me to that place.
As I was seeing the person approaching from the back, I felt really uneasy. It was doing what it was supposed to, but it was almost like I was going to use a sexual reference and I won't, but it was like getting you right there and
you're
finishing you off. No, but I felt like it's like they could have done more with that scene.
No, I totally agree with you. And it was interesting that they decided to put the texting on the screen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, I know that every
it's how else are we going to see it?
Yeah, but it's weird to me, yes, you and I use texting every single day, but there's still something weird to see big movies use texting.
I mean, it's like they have to or they're not relevant, because think about how people communicate now, especially teenagers. So anyway, the credits go on and then it switches to, so Patrick Wilson is driving his son to it, and you can tell they don't have the best relationship and they don't really know each other. He takes him to college and he's helping him move into the dorm, and the first thing Patrick Wilson says, he gets a frat frat party news or flyer, and he hands it to his son and is like, "You don't know me at all. Why would you think I would join a frat?"
So he throws it in the trash, and then like the son's putting up his like art projects, and like he has a picture of like the entire family except his dad.
Yes, he has a picture, literally his brother, his mom, everyone, not the dad. And Patrick Wilson says, "Oh, I guess I didn't make the wall." And like, there's like a snide comment, like, "You haven't been in my life much." Well, then we get like a quirky.
How good was the Barbara Beach's Hershey picture?
Barbara Hershey picture? Yeah,
yes.
he drew. I mean, obviously the actor didn't.
I want that on my wall.
Yes, it's like a really detailed picture of her. It's a great picture. Anyway, then we get this quirky side character, which is his roommate, and his roommate comes in and it just happens to be a girl named Chris. Apparently, like, admissions fucked up the names, and she's this like fun, cool girl.
Sinclair Daniel.
Is that the actress's name? Well, yeah, she plays Chris, and they're like, and you know, and she already, you can tell, is gonna bring like some life into the movie. But right before she kind of leaves for a second, and then like the dad and Dalton, they get in a big fight where they say some pretty awful things, like,
"You ungrateful little shit,"
and then Dalton says, "No wonder mom left you." And I was like, oh, that is rough.
You can't come back from that.
And then Patrick Wilson leaves, and just, but what was so sad is that as he's walking to his car, he's like crying. And I
love to see a big, tall guy,
straight man cry. It's true, like, especially like a dad.
I've never been more turned on.
Especially like a dad who's trying to be like so macho, like, get my son to go to a frat party. By the way, Dalton is not a frat type at all. He is going to college for art. He's like an artist, so he's the artsy kid. He is not the frat kid.
No.
But like Patrick Wilson is like crying, and you can tell he feels bad. And he also is letting on that he says he feels like his brain has been foggy lately, like he hasn't been remembering things. And I'm just like, has this just happened?
Yeah, I was like, for the past 9 years, you just
realized it. They're like, hey, we haven't had another movie to talk about.
Yeah.
So anyway, they do a lot of switching back and forth between either Patrick Wilson or his son. And like, there's some scenes where his son is like getting to know the roommate, and Chris stays there for a night.
And she's a girl, and there was some kind of mix up with like.
I totally just said that.
I know, but I mean, like, I can't believe like they're continuing
it's not butter.
it.
I can't believe it's not butter.
I can't believe it's not butter. Oh my God, I want some toast.
Do you remember that? I can't believe it's not butter. No, you're right. She has to spend a night there, and like they're all like awkward.
That's also how the movie Threesome started, with Josh Charles, Stephen Baldwin, and Laura Flynn Boyle, because her name was Alex.
Wait, she was in the dorm in the wrong?
Yeah, they were like, they said there was a housing shortage.
Oh, yes, you're right.
So if anyone wants to see Threesome, it's practically the same as Insidious the Red Door.
It's exactly the same. I mean, tons of sex, no ghosts, but exactly the same. So like, you can tell that like Chris and Dalton are going to become friends. And there's a couple things that happen. First, like, we get a scene with Dalton in his art class, and his art teacher is like this, I hate to say this, but like this art Nazi.
Yeah,
It's like so mean to everyone.
It was interesting that they took that stand of like, we're gonna have a mega bitch teacher.
And the first thing she does, it says, everyone like put like a really important picture on your easel. And then this first guy puts it on, and she goes to him and she's like, I don't remember what she said, but she says like, this is horrible.
That looks like a photograph.
Yes, and she's like, rip it up. And he's like, no. She's like, rip it up. And she's like, okay, well, I guess you're out of class. Leave.
And he goes, like, no.
And he has to leave class. So then Dalton rips up his picture of Barbara Hershey.
Yeah, I thought that was a well-written scene.
Yeah, and he rips it up. It's like he's telling his art teacher, like, I'll rip it up. And like, the teacher's all proud of him for ripping up something that's important to him.
Yeah, rip up your hard worked.
Yeah, well, it's like something that means something to you, because I'm thinking, this is a freshman art class. Give it a rest, lady.
Everyone needs to calm down.
This is literally intro to art. You should be just tracing things.
I mean, but like, what did they say? Like, it's a strong liberal arts school.
I mean, how strong? Like,
I mean, apparently there's a fraternity there.
Well, so anyway, then we switch to what I'm going to say right now was my favorite scene of the entire movie.
Oh my God.
Patrick Wilson goes to get an MRI because he thinks something's going on with his brain. So they put him in. Now, if you've ever had an MRI or a CAT scan or something, you go in that really...
Or gone into a tanning bed.
Yes, you go into this really claustrophobic machine that you can't sit up, and you have to stay like still, and you're looking at the ceiling. So anyway, there's a great scene because he is in there, the lights go out, and he's trying to call for help, and then you see like a demon hand start to reach for him from behind. And then he sees, which was pretty terrifying, this demon or entity start crawling towards him from his feet.
I didn't find that scary at all, but I found
Really?
the hand by his head much more effective.
Oh, is it because they spoiled the
I saw
demon
it
in the
trailer.
trailer? Yes.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. I could feel it. I've had one of those at MRI before. When you're in that machine, you can't move. Like if something's in there with you, that to me is terrifying. I've also never seen anything like that in a scene. Like I've never seen a demon in an MRI machine.
You haven't?
Know? Oh, you haven't? It's like everyone does that.
Wait,
No,
so Patrick Wilson was born in 1973. How old is he?
that means he's 50.
He's 50?
Yeah, yeah.
Could you imagine being a 50-year-old man getting a close-up like that?
What do you mean a close-up?
Remember, like the whole scene in the MRI was like 50.
Oh, he looked great. He looks
No,
great.
I'm just saying, I'm nervous.
Oh my god. well, are you going to be in the next Insidious?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's called MRI Inside the Red Door.
So he goes crazy and he says to the doctor, like, what happened? What happened? The doctor's like, you were asleep during
He
the
goes,
whole
for
MRI.
15 minutes.
So yeah, like you were asleep, and then like the doctor starts saying like, hey, have you checked out, like have you looked into your mental health? And it almost looks like he's like taken aback. Like,
yeah,
what do you mean?
Yeah, he was like, he's like, well, he goes, well, my mom passed, my son went to school.
He's like, I've had a lot of stress.
My wife and I separated.
Yes, and he also, you get the feeling, you've never heard in the other movies about his dad, but he says that his dad left his family. Like that, we forgot to say that in the fight with
40
Dalton.
years ago.
He said, at least you have a dad. My dad left. And basically Dalton saying like, well, it's pretty much like you left because you're not part of my family. So we're getting an inkling there's something going on with Patrick Wilson's dad. Anyway, then we get to another scene with Dalton, and he's doing like a sketch or something, and like the teacher is telling him like to really feel it, and he starts to go into almost the trances that he used to go into as a kid, and he starts drawing like a red door.
Yes.
Hey,
and then like
Insidious, the red door.
Then like, how did he get that cut?
Oh, something cut him because he was I think it was the charcoal. He was so furiously drawing
it. Was like a really big cut.
And he spread the red over the painting. Look, he's dedicated. Even his blood is part
I
of
was
this
like,
painting.
God, he's an artist.
God, an artist. Well, then we switched to this weird, I thought this scene was a little weird for a movie like this, where he goes to a frat party with Chris.
Okay, first off, the guy that played the fraternity brother.
Oh, you mean Nick the Dick?
Nick the Dick was so miscast. He was like, the lead guy.
He did
Dalton
not look like a fraternity guy. He like,
was
when
a
you
little
think, no, you're right. When you think stereotypical fraternity guy, you think really like big, muscly, like jockey type, and this guy was not.
He was, well, first off, they put him in diapers because I guess it was the theme of the party.
The frat party was like something like,
babies?
Don't shit yourself.
Don't shit yourself.
A great frat party.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I didn't get that.
That was weird. So Chris and Dalton sneak up to like a room.
Oh, and well, before they go up to that room, Nick the Dick. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Nick the Dick?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So he gives this huge story that a fraternity brother died of alcohol poisoning.
Yes, had died. They're like, drink responsibly. You don't want what happened before. So right away, you know that a fraternity brother died of like alcohol poisoning. So then Chris and Dalton go up to a room, and Dalton slips back into, his weird trance thing, and he sees someone throwing up in the toilet. And how many times did that guy heave?
It was like 5 times. And
it was a lot of throw up sounds.
He took the time to look up at them, and his face was disgusting.
Well, his face is demon-ish, and you realize this is not real. And then he says, "Shut the door!" And like it scares Dalton. But then Dalton he's obviously in the further in the world
totally
with
in the further.
He is totally in the further with like the tortured souls. And he hides under the bed, and then they have this like jump scare where he leans back, and then the dead fraternity brother vomits all over him.
Yes, and then like Chris opens the door, and apparently like he's
reacting to nothing.
Yeah,
because
like there's no vomit going on.
There's no vomit because he is. It's like these weird. Like he can. I don't know if it's daydreams
how do you describe
or
the further?
Well, it's just another dimension where dead souls are in there, especially people who've had like horrible deaths and stuff. Obviously, the frat kid had a horrible death, and Dalton can connect with this. When he was a kid, he was able to go into further.
So it's kind of like when Kristen could bring people into her dreams in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Exactly. But here's the thing. What's weird about this, both Dalton and Josh, Patrick Wilson, both have this power that they can go into the further, but because they were hypnotized, they don't know what's going on. So it's like, it's a really weird thing because the audience is watching, we're watching this movie, we know what's going on, but the characters don't.
Right, because they were hypnotized in the first 5 minutes of the film.
Yes, and they don't know, so they don't know that they have these powers. Anyway, so we get to another plot. Again, it keeps switching back between Josh and Dalton, and then
Which
there's another
storyline
part.
did you like better?
Ugh, that's tough because again, maybe Josh, the dad, because I like the thing with his dad, which I'm about to say, and Dalton. I don't know. Like I don't know. The furious
you
painting.
could relate more to
A
Patrick
50-year-old
Wilson.
dad than a college student. I mean, it's getting closer.
I mean,
the thing is, I just thought his scenes were a little stronger. I don't know how many times I need to watch the kid, furiously painting. Like we
Right.
had a lot of.
I mean, I
those
do
scenes.
love a good artist.
And did you love the art teacher?
Yeah,
she's the
a
greatest.
bitch.
So there's a scene where Josh finds out that there's this big jump scare scene, and they have a little bit of this in the trailer when
He's in his condo.
Yes, he's trying to do a memory game where he has pictures of his wife and his kids, and he puts them on cardboard to cover different windows.
And this scene's very effective, and it's broad daylight.
Yes, and he keeps opening up like it's like a cardboard square that's covering a window, and then he pulls it up, and he has to say their name. And I don't know what you were thinking, but I was thinking I get it, you've forgotten a few things, but has it really gotten to the point where you're forgetting your family?
Yeah, and then when it was say the name, were you singing "Say my name"?
Say my name, and no one is around you. I did think I didn't think his memory loss had gotten that extreme, but he's doing this game, and every time one of them goes up, you can see a person, an entity outside coming closer.
Yeah, that was very effective. And then it bashes through.
But then I thought that they kind of cheapened that scare, because then out of nowhere, the entity bashes through the window, and it literally was so loud I jumped in my seat, and I'm not a jumper. I jumped him. It was so fucking loud. You didn't think that part was just loud as fuck?
You know what? I was in an incline chair.
When the entity bashes through at Patrick Wilson, it's like they turned the volume up 20
Maybe
decibels.
I did. I wish I could remember.
I don't jump. I can
You
get
really
scared, but my body jumped. It literally was like someone put a blowhorn in my ear and went blah. That's how loud I swear
But that's
to
all we
God.
ever wanted.
All I ever needed is here.
In my arms.
So anyway, as this thing is coming closer, it's reaching for Patrick Wilson, and then it leaves it's something that says his dad's name on it.
Oh, Ben Byrne?
It's it's something that says his dad's name on it, and Patrick Wilson goes to do a little investigating on his dad, which I'm wondering why hadn't he done this in the last 40 years? But he finds out his dad suffered from mental illness and killed himself because he had visions. Now, as an audience,
they found a bunch of pictures, and on the picture it said, "This ends with me."
yes. So I think as an audience member, we know that, oh my God, the dad just could see the further just like them. It's been passed down. But because Patrick Wilson doesn't know this yet, he thinks my dad was seeing things, was and killed himself because of mental illness. So anyway, again, there is a weird part of this movie that okay, this is what I'm trying to say. You know how when you watch a movie and a big mystery gets revealed at the end and you're like, oh my God. Well, in this movie, we knew all the mysteries because we knew what happened in Insidious 1 and 2. So we were watching characters figure out something we already knew. Does that make sense?
Of course,
that's weird.
Yes,
but it's
so
weird because it's we're watching them realize what happened in the first two movies, and I'm like, but we already know.
Yeah.
So what's the surprise? Anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean, but it's hard when you have a fifth movie to keep any of this fresh.
Yeah. Well, we go to Dalton's back in school, and he's starting to confide in Chris. That
And you know what? I
can...
like Chris that she's open to his crazy.
And they had to work Lynn Shay and the two guys that she worked with. Their names were...
Chris found it online.
Yes, Chris. So Chris, when Dalton tells her that he sees these visions and he thinks it's like dead people, she finds this thing online. And it's a clip of, what do you know, Lynn Shay talking about the further and talking about astral projecting. And every time I say that, I feel like I want to say astroglide.
You can, and I'm gonna laugh.
Okay. So astral projector means people that can jump out of their bodies into the further and blah, blah, blah. All this stuff we already knew because we've seen the first two movies.
But Chris had to bring it to his attention via YouTube.
Exactly. And she also shows him a clip of Specs and Tucker. Those are the guys that you worked with.
Were those the guys from parts 3 and 4?
Parts 1 and 2. No, they worked with her. Yeah, and 3 and 4, actually. They worked with him. And by the way, do you know Specs is Lee Winnell, as in the guy who wrote the first movie and was in Saw? Big horror guy. He also acts. Yes, he plays Specs.
Him.
So they do this clip, and you see Lynn Shay, and then Dalton decides that he's going to astral project while like Chris is watching over him. He's like, like basically he's going to go back to the frat house, see if he can connect with this dead frat boy. He doesn't know why, but he wants to like help him, but he wants Chris to watch over him. But while Dalton is in like the further, he sees the big red face demon from the first movie. Now this was the demon that like kidnapped him, remember, for a while. And when he sees him,
literally chained him.
Yes, like and the demon is able to like attack Chris. That didn't really make sense, remember? Like he hasn't been possessed
well,
yet.
There was also other demons that were coming into the movie.
That was a later, but like there's like Chris almost gets like, I always find it weird when people in the real world are getting attacked by people in the other dimension, because I'm like, how's that? Like that's a little shady. Shifty.
Right, it's a little
Maybe we shouldn't ask questions, but Chris almost gets like strangled by one of the entities, but then Dalton gets back to his body and like helps her, and then she's like, you shouldn't mess with this. She does not want him to like do anymore. But what happens is Dalton starts drawing more on his red door painting, and he draws a figure that looks like his dad with a hammer. And he doesn't know what it means, and he calls up his brother, and that's the one scene where the brother got.
This is where I was completely taken out of the movie, because the
poor little
brother,
Foster's acting.
Good job, but it's just like you could tell that like obviously Dalton's a pro, and his brother's like.
I mean, Ty Simpkins has quite a resume.
Did someone say record?
I know poor the guy who played Falster, who is what is his name? Andrew Astor. Who knows?
He's probably at that awkward age.
So he calls up his brother, and his brother tells him, there's something that I remember when we were kids, but Mom always said it was a bad dream. It was Dad trying to kill us. Now again, as watching as audience members, we know that happened, because that was Insidious 2 when Patrick Wilson was possessed. But I'm just like, so the mom told them that it's I get why Dalton forgets, because he was hypnotized, but the other kid, if I remembered something happening, my mom, I don't care if she tells me it's a bad dream, I'm going to remember that it happened.
Right. Like, I don't know how you get rid of these memories.
Yeah, exactly. And so like so anyway, like so they like that starts to like spur some of his memories, and that's when he starts to have a premonition of what happened in Insidious 2 when he saw his dad trying to kill them.
And they literally show the clip of when the two boys are younger. Rose Byrne doesn't have blonde streaks.
No, she only in this movie. Yes, and she's like screaming, "Stop!" And Patrick Wilson, who's possessed by the Bride in Black, has a hammer and is about to kill Dalton.
It's very shining.
It is very shining, but this is what I thought was weird. Adult Dalton or college Dalton is watching this happen, and then he like tackles his dad, but he's watching a past memory, so that didn't quite make sense to me.
I guess this can only happen in the further.
I guess because we're further from the truth. Get it, Tim?
Right? No, explain it.
Yeah, but then right away, I will say this. This is when the movie started to go a little off the rails, because I almost feel like they were like, oh shit, like rush, like hurry this up.
Yeah,
because suddenly, I don't even know how it happened, but Dalton is back in chains with the red-faced demon, like he was when he was a kid, like he's been kidnapped again. Right. And how did that happen? Did I miss something?
No, we were there.
But it's like he's watching what happened in Insidious 2. Then suddenly he's back, and we're like, oh my God, this is happening to him again. So he's away from his body. But this time, we've learned in the other Insidious movies.
Dalton gets possessed for like a second.
Well, we've learned in the other movies what Lin Shaye always would say, and I know this because I watch them, is that the further or the longer you are away from your body, like when you're astral projecting, the more time there is for like demons to possess you. So what happens? The red-faced demon possesses Dalton's body, and then in the real world attacks Chris, and he like throws her against a wall.
Yeah, that was violent.
Also, was it just me, or when Dalton was possessed, his body, did he not look like Brandon Lee in The Crow? Do you remember The Crow?
Yeah, especially with that hair.
He had the long hair. He had like a white face. It literally looked like Brandon Lee in The Crow.
It was. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Oh, so what a horrible.
Died on the set.
Died on the set from an accident with a gun.
Truth be told, I've never seen The Crow.
I saw it, and
you did?
I mean, the hype at that time after his death was huge. I had
to see it. Because he died during filming?
Yes,
and they still finished it.
Well, they had to like CGI and have like body doubles for parts they hadn't filmed. Yeah,
I still don't want to see it.
I know. So Dalton looks really fucking creepy, and then But like, you know, Dalton's and they realize that something's wrong. And so what happens is Josh also goes back to talk to his ex-wife, Renee, Rose Byrne, and he's telling her, it's like, telling her about my dad, I'm remembering these things. And then finally she says, she tells him what happens.
I gotta tell you something.
She's like, you know what? I thought I could keep it a secret.
For 10 years, I couldn't really talk about it. So I thought the best thing to do was get a divorce.
And then tell you while your son is back in the further kidnapped.
She goes, and while we're at it, can you sit down and go into the further and save our son? Thank you.
She literally is like that, because what happens, she starts telling him, she tells him everything that happened in the movie, that he almost, when she says he tried to kill them, he's like, I could never do this. She's like, it wasn't you, you were possessed. And
she goes, we knew that, but
it's still scary for the kids. But then she like tells him like his dad had the same power. He was not mentally ill, and he could astral project, and the Patrick Wilson can astral project, and the Dalton can. But then because Foster like found out that I guess Dalton wasn't safe or something, he realizes that like, you know, Josh has to go into the further so he can help him. And I don't even know that it was just, everything was so rushed at that point that like Rose Byrne says that he has to get back into the further, and like, I didn't know she had the talent to hypnotize him. Apparently she can do that after 9 years.
Well, you know, she became an expert too.
It's just like, so she puts him out and he's in the further and he goes to save Dalton, and just like the first Insidious.
I will say this, because now the movie's like on hyperdrive.
Going so fast.
No, but I mean, like, I thought like the ending would be this big finale, but in the further, they're on it for like, I felt like what felt like 2 minutes.
You're totally right. He immediately saves Dalton, and I was thinking, are they gonna have some big showdown with the red-faced demon? They don't really.
There's no fight.
You see the red-faced demon like looks at them, and he's all scary. Yes, he's scary. But then they get to the red door, aka the title,
so
and they shut it.
The kid goes through, and then the dad leans up against the door.
Well, the dad is trying to hold it shut, and he realizes because the demon's trying to get through.
He's like, if I throw my body up against the red door, my son will be saved.
No, he just thinks that if they both leave the further, the demons will get through this door, which is like the door between the further and their real world. So he tells Dalton, you know, like, go out of this. I'll hold this door shut. So Dalton is able to get back into his body just in time.
And do art.
Well, what happens is Dalton, again, very metaphoric, he decides to paint over his painting, which had the red door in it. And as he's painting over it, the door in the further gets sealed shut. Like, I was very like,
really,
wait, so like, paintings can translate now into this?
So you're telling me all this movie needed was a coat of paint?
Just like, hey, if you just want to shut that door, just paint over it.
Yeah, paint over it with a really, really heavy blood mix.
But here's the thing. And then after that, so you're like thinking now Patrick Wilson can leave. But as he's walking out, he sees the spirit of his dad. Ben Burton is his name.
Sweet.
And he Ben Burton points him in the direction of out of the further, like to help him get back to his body. And what do you know? He gets back to his body and wakes up. For a second, I did think Patrick Wilson may die in this because
me too. I
thought he was going to stay.
Like, you know, he directed it, he starred in it. Maybe he'll die in it,
and maybe like that's the end. But anyway, so he wakes up in his body. Of course, Rose Byrne, his other kid, are happy. They call Dalton. Dalton's happy.
It was very transactional. Not transactional, but what's the word? I'm like, oh, okay. Your dad's back. Oh, let's call your brother. Your son's back.
Oh, good.
Okay,
everything's
let's order
good.
pizza.
I will say it was very, again, how quickly all of this ending stuff happened all at once. It just happened really quickly, and you're right. There wasn't a big finale fight with the red-faced demon. I thought there was going to be more interaction.
Me too. For being a big old Hollywood movie, I thought that'd be like a big showdown, but it was an hour and 47 minutes leading to not much.
Well, I thought that just to end it, so as Josh is walking out, he has a sweet little moment with Renee where she says, you know, maybe you could come over to dinner and hang out with us. Like, you think there could be a reconciliation between them.
There should be.
Like, I was just like, if all it took was him remembering what happened, you should have told him years ago.
Yeah, it's like you could have a husband, a hot one at that.
Yeah, and let's talk about the husband.
Let's talk about the husband.
So, and then they have one little scene where Patrick Wilson's walking to his car, and of course they had to get Lynn Shay another scene, even though she's dead.
I really love the simplicity of this. Like, there was no special effects. It was literally Lynn Shay on the street.
He sees Lynn Shay, and remember, like Patrick Wilson, the details of what happened in his past are still a little foggy, so he doesn't quite remember, and he asks who she is. Now remember, she's a spirit.
Lynn Shay, star of Nightmare on Elm Street.
She's not alive anymore. She was killed in the first one by Patrick Wilson when he was possessed. But anyway,
nice guy.
I know. So he sees her and he says, "Oh, do I know you?" She's like, "Oh, I know your mother." And she says, like, everything's going to be okay. And,
I thought that was very sweet.
It was very sweet. I was wondering, how is he seeing spirits now in the real world? But I don't want to,
But then when he
talk about
adjusts
that.
the
rear view mirror,
she's gone.
Yeah, but so he realizes that she was a spirit too.
So did you think at that moment Patrick Wilson's just effing crazy?
I thought, wow, they got Lin Shaye another scene. There was a sweet moment when they showed her in that scene. Everybody in the theater clapped because there's almost like
That
it's
was
like
weird.
Well, I just thought it was sweet. It's because she's been such an important part of the series. Like they got her in.
It's so interesting to me when people clap at a movie because the actors are, like
I know it's
they
not like
don't
anybody's gonna be like,
appreciate
thank you,
thank you, and a bow.
I think it's more, yeah, it's like they were just happy for it. Was a nice scene, but then we even get another scene. Dalton drives and sees, or sorry, Patrick Wilson drives and sees his son in college, and he like hugs him, and he sees he's now has a picture on the wall with him, and the picture that Dalton has drew of him is when Patrick Wilson was carrying him as a kid out of the further from the first Insidious.
I just got goosebumps.
It's a sweet moment, and it shows like he's reconnected with his son. They're remembering what happened and how they bonded over this. Maybe he'll reconnect with his family, and it kind of leaves it at that, and then it goes to credits.
The movie's message is don't have toxic masculinity.
No, I think the movie's message is generational trauma, as Jamie Lee Curtis would say.
And
there was a lot of generational trauma in this.
Once again, because the last movie we just talked about, Run Rabbit Run, there was more trauma.
There's a lot of movies that use trauma as a metaphor. Grief and trauma.
Stricken horror films.
Well, you want to know something I looked up on Wikipedia, Tim, that we didn't stay for because I had to pee so badly that I ran out of the movie theater.
Scene?
There was a post-credit scene, a very tiny one, where the light above the red door that's been sealed flickers. Like, I guess that means like, ooh, something could happen.
They're gonna paint it purple.
Now all he has to do is paint over it on his painting.
I mean, all he has to, save everyone an hour and 47 minutes and just paint the door.
So all in all, I want to hear your thoughts. I kind of get an idea of your thoughts, but tell me everything you think.
Well, I think I said it like 2 seconds ago, but I thought like it'd be more action packed. I mean, I'm not saying like a horror film needs. It was just very like the movie's atmospheric. Its goal is like, hey, this is spooky, right? And you're like, okay, but I wanted an action film. I guess I should just see Indiana Jones.
I was like, you wanted an action film?
No, but I just wanted more like I felt like the stakes were low. Yeah. I was like, I wanted like Patrick Wilson to be fighting that thing.
I kind of see what you're saying. Here's the thing. I did think the first half really had me, and here's why. Because I thought that some of the scenes that were building the scares were really good. I know I've been reading some reviews on this, and some people are like, God, so much on just the family's like dynamics, but I kind of like that because it makes me care about the characters.
I don't mind family dynamics.
So I did like learning more about this family and where they've been, because this is the third movie with this family, so I like that, and I thought they were building the tension really well. I just think, like you said, it all built up to nothing big.
Like, what about Rose Byrne? What if she accidentally fell into the further and like he had to save like Rose Byrne, or Rose Byrne went in there and saved Patrick Wilson,
or
I was
something?
Like,
I don't think she can. I don't think she has that
I know,
power.
but I'm just saying, like, anything's possible.
Something. No, you're right. You're right. Here's the thing: the biggest miss was that the ending parts were just rushed, and that they didn't have a final confrontation with the red-faced demon. Like, they could have had some sort of fight or something more than just crossing through a door.
Blown up the red door. The movie's called The Red Door. Blow it up.
They literally just walk through the door, close it, and hold it shut, and then he paints over it. So that
was just like
the ending was a little bit of a letdown, but overall, I still kind of like this. I will say, I think the first Insidious is the best, and I think the second one is better than this one, but I still thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, like I mean, there was a point where I could have passed out, but I didn't. I stayed awake. No, I totally enjoyed it, and I like the dynamics between the family, but I just wanted the stakes 1,000 times higher for a finale of a big horror film.
And that's the thing. They've been talking like this is the end of maybe not the Insidious series, but of the Lambert family.
I mean, it made Wes Craven's New Nightmare, like that ending, look like,
oh my God, yeah,
so awesome.
Yeah, but it's harder to fight with Freddy than weird tortured souls, right?
I guess.
No, but you're right. They could have used the red-faced demon better. They could have had more than just a red door. I will say another weird thing that, again, I already said this, but I'm going to say it again. It's weird when the mystery of the movie, we already know it, and it's the characters that need to figure it out. Like, there was nothing new that we had to learn. it was the characters didn't know and they had to learn it. And I would have liked something new that we got to find out.
Or maybe even have that art teacher be like a further character.
Yeah. Oh,
You know
I
what
guess.
Like,
well,
why
I will
have
say
this
one new
bitch in the movie without being.
And she had no other part
She's
other
like,
than
"I'm
being
just a bitch, that's it."
being a mean art teacher.
I just want to say bitch as much as possible.
Bitch. I do. I mean, I guess you could say the new part of this story was him learning about his dad because they never covered that in the others, but that wasn't enough to
It wasn't enough.
You know what would have been cool? Who is the red-faced demon? Why didn't we get to learn in Insidious Part 2? We got to learn the entire backstory of the Bride in Black, which is the character that's freaky. It's actually a man wearing makeup and a bridesmaid. Why did we get no backstory on the red-faced demon?
Yeah,
Nothing.
Why not throw that into the further?
That would have been great. Like, what if it was a guy who was burned?
People love a callback.
But what if we got his backstory? Just something new. We didn't get a lot of new. It was just what's going on with the family. They're slowly figuring out what happened to them. Oh, they figured it out. Now shut the door.
And not even that many scares.
I mean, again, I thought there were a few. The MRI scene I thought was Chef's Kiss was great. I don't know if there's any other scene that really got it. The scene through the window, it scared me because it was really loud.
I don't know. It was missing something for me.
I will say, though, sometimes the scenes when they're in the further, it looks like I'm in a haunted house and they just have a fog machine.
Yeah,
on.
they're like, oh, it's kind of spooky, right?
I know. But here's the thing. It's still, I don't think it was bad by any means. I think it was still a respectable entry. It just wasn't the strongest of this series.
No, it definitely was depending on the dynamic of the family and the family getting along. I mind them.
I thought Patrick Wilson and Ty Simpkins, Josh and
strong
Dalton were
performances.
great.
I mean, if it was just a movie about like families getting along, that would be interesting too.
Also, Rose Byrne barely had 2 scenes.
I know. I was like, bring back that bridesmaid funny lady.
Yeah, I wonder why. I guess they really just wanted to focus on the father-son, I guess.
I guess the movie should have been called Father-Son Red Door.
Father-son Lambert, Adam Lambert.
Oh my God, I didn't meet him.
I know, I love that. Anyway, but so here's the thing. I think
the Red Door.
If you're an Insidious fan, you definitely should go out and see this entry and especially if you like Insidious 1 and 2. Just you may not think it's as strong as the first 2.
Right, and if you're in an inclined seat, just maybe have a Diet Coke.
You're like, or you'll fall asleep.
I stayed awake.
You did.
Awake.
It could have been the Diet Coke though. It gave you a little caffeine.
I actually had fruit punch.
Oh, so that's just sugar. So you're on a sugar high.
I was like, sugar.
Anyway, so that's our Insidious, the Red Door. Hey, Tim, shut the red door.
You know what? Shut your red door.
You know,
face.
like when people say shut the front door, instead of shut the fuck up. What if it was shut the red door?
I'm gonna try to make that happen.
I think you should. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah,
with that.
like fetch.
Anyway, okay. Well, thank you, everyone.
Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Happy Horror Time.
This podcast is hosted by Tim Murdoch and myself, Matt Emmert. It's co-produced by Jacob Randall.
We release new episodes every Monday, and we switch off between reviewing new horror films with spoilers and interviewing horror stars. So there's something for everyone.
You can listen to the podcast directly from our website. That's www.happyhorrortime.com, or from Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you stream podcasts. And if you'd like to support us, please sign up to be a patron at www.patreon.com/happyhorrortime. Patrons get access to our monthly bonus episodes where we discuss past horror films according to a theme. They get to vote on those themes. They get our monthly newsletter, The Happy Horror Times, and autographed Happy Horror Time stickers.
If you haven't already, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Happy Horror Time.
And since our movie reviews do contain spoilers, we always post the films we're going to review a few days in advance on our social pages, just in case you want to watch them beforehand and be in the know with us.
And finally, if you'd like to contact us directly, send an email to happyhorrortime@gmail.com. We especially love it when you tell us how sexy we are.
I'm Matt Emmert.
And I'm Tim Murdoch.
And we hope you have a happy horror time.